Hey everyone, I'm Sean Walker from iTrain Hockey. Today we're going to go over an overall power skating class. You're going to love it. Whether you're a beginner or advanced level hockey player, I'm going to go over a lot of details. This is typically how I would run my first hour of my first hockey camp. So imagine as if you've come to a camp, and we're going to go over just like we would in a camp, except now we have a lot more time on the ice. There's no rush. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a lot of the details of what I might not be able to give in person when we're on a time crunch. And so you're going to get a lot of great details no matter what level of hockey you play, beginner to advanced level. I'm sure you're going to love this. Follow along or watch along, and then when you get onto the ice or inline, then you can practice these as you go. First thing that we're going to start with is just getting into the gliding technique. So we want to make sure that we're nice and wide and low into a solid stance. If you pushed me from this position, I wouldn't move because I'm nice and solid. I have bent my back a little bit and lifted up my chest. And now what's happened is, in the same way I flex my core to kind of crunch it forward like this, it's nice and strong right now, we flex our low back, also a part of our, very important part of our core, by bending our back and lifting up our chest. We're not gonna do it too much, but mine is nice and strong right now. I've got lots of weight distributed across my entire blades right now. I'm wide and low. I'd say my feet are a little bit wider than shoulder length, and I'm just nice and solid. Think about yourself as like a tree. And we want to not be a skinny little maple tree. We want to be a thick oak tree, so that if we were in a tornado storm, we wouldn't move. We've got thick legs and we've got roots. Even though I'm on inline blades, I still feel like I've got some good grip on the cement. And we're just going to start in that position. So let's start by taking 3 or 4 strides, and you can do it slow, or if you're an advanced level player, start to speed it up a little bit. Take a couple strides and then just sit in that stance and get comfy in that position. If you have a friend, just have them give you a little shove on the hip a couple times, just so that you're nice and solid and you can withstand that check. How do we become more balanced? We put ourselves out of balance. Someone needs to push us. So again, we'll just get into a nice couple strides and then just get nice and wide and low. I like 2 hands in the stick, but you can also do 1, and just sit nice and solid in that stance. Okay, let's get into the basics of skating. Skating is not just about striding. The striding is the one that goes back. It's also about the gliding. So if you've ever heard me, stride and glide is my favorite, one of the foundations to skating. One leg is striding, one leg is gliding. Hockey is very similar to jumping. If I wanted to jump, I would load up my legs and I would lift off and I would jump in this direction. Before I went in this direction, I went in this direction. I loaded up my legs and then leapt in that direction. And skating is very similar, only we load up our legs in the same direction, but jump in this direction. We jump forward. And instead of jumping on 2 legs in that direction, we jump off of 1 leg. We load and explode off the left with my chin, my knee and my toe, everything lined up on that leg. And then I drive and push off of that leg, and then I transfer. Remember that word transfer? We have to transfer to the other leg. It is of equal importance. And then I load and explode off of that leg. What do we call it in hockey? We call it this: striding and gliding. 1 leg strides, jumps off of this leg, and then we glide and we travel off of that leg with the glide. A lot of players think the more strides I take, the faster I'm going to skate. And yes, that's a very good point to a degree and very true. But however, we can travel much faster if we engage and focus on the glide. If you're Jack Eichel, you have a really good stride, but you have the best glide in the league. When he glides, it's like he travels so far per stride. If you're Nathan MacKinnon, man, he's got such a perfect stride and glide, and he looks like a rhino when he skates. You want to just get the heck out of his way. You could have a stride like that, a stride and glide like that. Or you could be add a level of quickness to it, like Connor McDavid, and be a little more upright. He's obviously got strength and speed and quickness and basically everything that you'd want, but almost a little more upright, more about the spring than about the power. So you can embrace any stride that you'd like and try all of them. I definitely have, and then I've found my own unique way of skating. 1 leg goes back, that's the striding leg. 1 leg is going to drive forward. This is a really good stride, but if you notice, here's my hip, and down here, here's my knee. We want to stride and glide. This leg lunges forward while this one drives backwards, so that my hip and my knee are almost along the same line. They don't have to exactly be, but the idea is to embrace driving that leg forward so that I focus on the traveling in that direction. So what we're going to do now is not take a stride and think about this leg going back. Naturally, the stride is quite easy for many of us. What I want you to focus on is the glide. I want you to focus on driving this leg forward as much as you can. If I were to take a knee, typically sometimes we just do knee lunges where I'll step up off this leg and we just continue skating as we do lunges. Mistakenly, a lot of players will have their leg out to the side and then try to push up off that leg. We can't do it so easily unless we do this. Under your chin should be that knee. And now it should be nice and easy for me to pick up my back knee. And now you see how low I am in my stance? This is nearly as low as you should be in your stride. So again, we can do it again. We take our knee, drop it to the ice or the cement, and under my chin is that leg. Don't have it out to the side. It's very hard for me to push up off that leg right now. And all I'm gonna do is just hover that knee off of the ice. One leg goes back, one leg drives forward, and this is exactly what my stride would look like. And so all we're gonna do now is we're gonna skate. But your focus is not on the stride going backwards, it's on the glide driving forwards. And you can do it fast as slow as you want, you choose. Okay, now we're gonna move up to the blue line. All we're gonna do is skate from blue line to blue line, and then you're gonna stop and stay there. If you're going with a partner and you've got a friend to train with, then basically the first player to stop and stay on that blue line wins. First to get to the blue line, stop and stay there wins. Our focus is gonna be now more on accelerating strides. So not maintaining our speed, but now accelerating up to that top speed. And we're gonna focus on a couple things. When I was 8 years old, I played AA hockey, and things were pretty fast in the game. Players would attack me as soon as I got possession of the puck, but they attacked me quite slow. It was very easy for me to just blow by them. When I was 9 years old, I played AAA hockey, and the biggest difference was this. As soon as I got possession of the puck at AAA, someone was on me right away. If you want to be a better hockey player, you need to get faster. So I can help you. Get faster. If you have a great stride and glide technique, that's good, but we can't just focus on the stride. If you want to be faster, we have to focus on driving that leg forward. We focus on the glide. That's the first thing. That's just the stride though. That's just the stride. Here's the stride of my left leg. Here's the recovery of that leg. Typically, left arm, as we stride with the left leg, the left arm drives out. Look at my left side of my body. It is extended. And this is driving forward, and this one's driving straight backwards. But now, if you notice, my right arm is bent, and my right elbow is bent. So basically what I'm doing is loading up everything on that side, and now I'm about to drive it forward. Those arms are incredibly important. Basically, picture on your belly button your hockey stick or a rope, and basically the right arm is always going to stay on the right side, the left arm is always going to stay on the left side, and almost imagine as if you're grabbing it and pulling it in. And we're doing the same sort of thing with our arms. I find like I really drive those arms forward, and I really bend them up and get ready to scoop the air and drive it forward, because I swear every length and strength of that right arm increases the length and strength of my right leg. They have to stay coordinated. Your whole body likes to stay coordinated. The limbs like to. So let's embrace that. And our focus now is going to be on the recovery, both the recovery of the arm and the recovery of the leg. When I stride, the recovery should be right underneath my chin. And when I recover, I want you to recover a little more aggressively than you normally would, whether on ice hockey or inline. Ice hockey, inline, it's all the same. We want to make a little bit of a sound, and typically that sound, if it sounds good, it is good, and if you create that sound, I swear it will retract quicker, and it'll allow you to get to your next stride much faster. So what I want you to focus on is not a stride and a nice smooth recovery, but a much more aggressive and explosive recovery. Explosive meaning it's fast, it's strong, it's quick. Picture a bomb or a volcano exploding in your mind, and I want your recovery to look and sound exactly like that. So now, you want to be faster? Shot and glide with an explosive recovery. Skate from blue line to blue line as fast as you possibly can. Okay, our next focus is going to be on the quick factor. So you could have a really nice stride and glide with an explosive recovery, but we don't want just an explosive one. We want it to be explosively quick. So remember those words, explosively quick. What that means is this: you could still stride and glide and you could still recover very loud and explosively, but it could also be like you're skating through mud, pound, 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 and it's very trudgy, a trudgy recovery. And so we want to add a nice little ingredient to this recipe, and the ingredient is going to be quickness. The best drill, I think, on the face of the earth to improve both ice and inline skating quickness overall. So like in your forward stride, your backward skating, everything. Get on those toes, man. And the best way to get on those toes is to do quick step overs. So now you're gonna skate from the blue to the red, and you're gonna do a step over as quick as you possibly can, just getting on your toes. I like the idea of for every pump of the leg, you're pumping your arms. So what that means is this: if you've got slow, trudgy legs and you can't quite get on your toes and focus on the quickness and spring factor, focus on the arms. The arms love to stay coordinated with the legs, as I said before. So just focus on that. Quick arms, and all of a sudden my feet just want to go quicker. As soon as you hit the red line, stop, turn, reset, and then face these boards. Both in ice and inline hockey, we want to make sure that our toes are parallel facing you directly. If they start to turn as I step over, I'm going to start to engage a little bit more of a glide, and I'm going to slip out of my crossover. We'll get to that in a little bit in a second, but just make sure that your toes are still facing nice and forward, and you can still get on your edges, as opposed to, I say, folding. I never rotate. I don't want to rotate. I want to fold and actually get on that edge so I can actually push off of it. So what ends up happening typically at the camps is players' technique goes out the window. So let's focus a little bit more on getting the grip that we need in order to do step overs really well. So we just did quick step overs on our toes, and now we're going to do just full step overs. And what we mean by that is we were going to go nice and slow. We want to get wide and low like Crosby, and we want to look Sidney Crosby perfect. So he's mechanically perfect, Sidney Crosby. Step number one to having a good step over is this: I'm nice and wide and I'm nice and low. I'm in my hockey stance. If I get pushed from this position, I'm not going to move. I'm still nice and solid. Step two, I get on my outside edge first. What I've done is folded my ankle. Remember that word, fold, and we are embracing a little bit of pain on our ankle. If you feel that little bit of a pain, then you know I'm doing it correctly. My ankle hurts a little bit right now, but us hockey players, we have strong ankles, and so we're going to embrace it. And volleyball, how do you know, when you're bumping, it really hurts the forearms as you're first starting to learn. How do you get over that? How do you not make it hurt? You don't. You just get used to it, and you build up a tendency, and it gets nice and strong. Hockey players, we do the same, and we do it with our ankles. Get on the edge first. If you rotate, there's no pain in my ankle whatsoever. I know I've done it incorrectly. Embrace that little bit of discomfort for the sake of your development and growth. Get on the outside edge first, and now it'll be so much easier for me to cross over that edge. Step three is the actual step over, the crossover. What I've done here is this: a good looking step over has space in between, and my feet are generally as much as they possibly can be. The leg that crosses over is naturally going to want to be in front a little bit, but we want to make sure that they are as close as possible to being side by side. The most common mistakes in step overs are this: one, players pick up their leg first before crossing over. Never do that. Get in your stance, fold. Get on the outside edge first, then cross over. It'll be so much easier, and you'll have better grip on ice and inline. And once we get into a full actual crossover, it'll be so much better, so much easier. A step over, what that's going to do for us is perfect our forward crossovers and our backwards crossovers. How do you have a good crossover? You first have a good step over. The second most common mistake is this: when players do cross, they either cross with not much space in between, or they shuffle, or they do something like this. That's not a crossover. I want your legs to be like the letter X, so I want space in between, and I want them to look like that X. And also, the most common mistake is this: players cross and watch this leg. The second this leg touches down, this one slides backwards. The reason why I've crossed over is so that now I can push off on that back leg. And if it's way back there, I cannot push off on it. And the reason why is because it's not underneath my chin. It has to be underneath your chin. So what we're gonna do is get into a strong stance, get on the outside edge, cross, and now with both of my feet underneath me, I can now transfer weight to this leg, as I have, begin to glide, but I could also distribute some of that weight almost fully to the other leg. And now I can begin to push off on that leg. Why? Because it's underneath my chin. Under my chin is that leg, and now all of my body weight can just be distributed through that leg, through my blade, and then into the ice or into the cement. And I can actually embrace a bit more of a push. So that's the most important things. How do we make a good step over? Strong stance, outside edge, cross. Go right back to it. Don't slide it, pick it up. Snap off the toe, go back to the strong stance, outside edge, cross. And this is all we're gonna do. Now we're gonna do step overs from blue to red, and we're gonna stay in this nice solid stance. As soon as you hit the red line, then we'll reset and we'll turn. We'll face the other board so we can practice the other side. Strong stance, outside edge, cross. Step, outside edge, cross. A very common mistake is that players like to look at their feet. When we shoot, we do not wind up and look at our puck and then shoot. When we throw a baseball, we do not wind up, look at our baseball, and then throw it. When I do a step over, I do not look at my feet. There's no need. I want my chest up. I want to be in that nice solid stance. This is hunched over, and I'm looking at my feet. Maybe I could say in a solid stance, but it'd be much more easy for me if I just focused on keeping my head up. I know what my feet are doing. They're in a strong stance. I know they're on their outside edge. I know they're crossing. I don't have to look at my feet and hunch over. Keep that head up, baby. Okay, nice job. Now we're gonna skate and do our step overs just as we just did. Remember our focus. Our focus isn't just to have good grip and solid stance and a good foundation with stability. Now we gotta push off of that stability. Now we gotta focus on the quickness. So instead of being wide and low like Crosby, we're gonna get skinny and tall. And we're gonna get springy like McDavid. So go ahead and spring with me now if you're on blades. Our focus is getting on the toes. We're not just doing this on the toes. We're not just doing this and bending our knees, but we're sort of embracing a full movement, and it's all of that. And now I can get on those toes and spring. Remember what I said before, the faster you pump your arms, the quicker you pump your arms, the quicker your feet are gonna wanna go. You're gonna naturally get on those edges. You can still get on those edges, even though you're just on your toes. So make sure that you're still getting on the edge, and just get a little more springy and snap off those toes. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, nice job. So now that we've focused and trained our quickness muscles and fast twitch muscles, now let's apply them. How do we get faster? Let's still focus. Remember, we're trying to get faster. We don't just stride, we stride and we glide. We lunge that leg forward. Now, because we've worked on it, our recovery, I bet you it won't just be explosive. It'll now have that extra ingredient of being a little bit quicker. So now it'll be explosively quick. How do we skate fast? Stride and glide with an explosively quick recovery, and now there's one more step. Apply those two things with the third thing. The third thing is this: we have to take the appropriate amount of strides. Typically on any ice surface, maybe it might be different on some larger neutral zoned surfaces where we might need 6 strides, but typically from blue to red, it is 5 strides. Let's do a count. Here's the blue line right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second I take that 5th, I'm upon the red line. I'm on that red line. So we've just tested it. It takes 5 strides to get from blue to red. If someone, like another hockey player on the other team, had possession of my puck and they're standing on the red line, I can attack them. And if I were to attack them with 4 strides, I can still reach that hockey player. But the problem is this: I can get there faster if I take a full 5 strides. So typically when I start, I sometimes will start, and I will train to start both off the ice in running shoes and definitely, of course, on blades, inline blades or ice hockey blades, in a V-start position. We could start in that V-start position, but my personal preference, always start with a crossover start. Definitely practice the V-start. Do it a lot. But my personal preference is to do the crossover start, and I'll give you a brief explanation on why. Typically when we crossover start, we have a little bit more of a lean. So we have more of a lean. Our body, if I want to gain speed, all I really need to do is glide and start to lean, and I can start to gain speed going into it. So that's the first thing. And two, I can embrace both the inline inside edge stride of my left, push off that leg, and as that leg is crossing over, I can then push off of my right. As long as you push and you don't push and then step this leg, you'll probably find yourself like 2 meters over to this side if it's a really strong push with your left and a push with your right. Then we turn our body. So I cross once with my left leg. That is the first stride. Then I'm going to turn my body, and then I'm going to embrace that outside edge push, and then it's going to complete the next 4 strides. Typically what ends up happening is it's not an exact science, but in my personal experience, I've trained hundreds of thousands of hockey players for I don't know how many years now, but decades, and players typically who are AA hockey players or single A hockey players who are just as fast and just as strong, and their technique is pretty damn good too. They can't skate as fast as the AAA players or high level, pro level players perhaps. And typically the reason I find is they just don't take the appropriate amount of strides. If that glove was a hockey player and they had possession of my puck, how dare they? I'm gonna now go attack them. Typically a AA player will take a stride, and that's 1, then they'll turn their body 2, 3, 4, and then they glide up to the hockey player. And that gliding time, what's the 2 most valuable things in hockey? Giving that player time and space. If you give them time and space, time to think, how do I get around Sean or you, and the space to actually do so, then they can react quite quickly and make a move around you. But if we attack with the full 5 strides, so instead of a glide, we take that extra stride, boom, we're going to be right on top of them, and now we've eliminated those 2 things, the time and the space, and now we have the advantage. Hockey is the fastest sport on the face of the earth on 2 legs. It is faster than sprinting, it is faster than swimming. We are the fastest sport. So to embrace that, we have to take the appropriate amount of strides. In sprinting, the difference between in a half of a second can be the difference between not just first place and third place, but first place and 10th place. Half a second is a lot of time. And if you give them that extra half a second by only taking 4 strides, instead of 5, if you're skating from blue to red, that extra half a second, that's all our brains need. Hockey players can react quick because they've trained quickness. They've trained it. So let's embrace it. Let's take it away from them. Take that 5th stride, get upon them, embrace a little bit more of a stick on stick, and then a body on body. This is a physical sport. Get your body in front of them, and you'll probably end up stealing that puck away from them. And now look at you, you're a highly valued defensive hockey player who is not just incredible at scoring goals, but you know how to take the puck away from other hockey players. So this is just a defensive setting. But let's say I'm a forward and I'm skating at the red line and I'm trying to enter into the zone. Where did most turnovers happen in hockey? They happen at the blue line. That a big, strong defenseman guides me towards the boards and takes me out of the play. Even NHLers and pro women hockey players make this mistake a lot. They come out of their zone fast, they come through the neutral zone fast, and they stop skating at the blue line. We would never do that. I'm gonna skate from red to blue, as if I'm entering into the zone right now. I would take the 5 strides, of course. Crossover start, maybe, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strides. And then I'd make a move, and then I would also, again, to pick up my feet as I skate through the zone. Basically, in an offensive, defensive setting, we wouldn't stop skating until we get to the top of the circle. Once I've reached the top of the circle, I am now inside the other team's zone, and now I can start to play around and get creative and stop and delay, or make a nice pass, or bank it off the boards, or make a nice move, enter, claim territory in the front of the net and shoot and score. But it's not until we do it at the top of the circle. We've gained entry into the house. And so that's how we would apply it in a game scenario. And now let's just focus on the skating. How many strides from blue to red? You know what it is. It's now 5. How do you get faster? You stride and you glide with an explosively quick recovery, and you take the appropriate amount of strides. If you're a hockey player on the other team, they're 9 strides away from you, don't take 8. Take the full 9, or however many it takes, and you will be now a much faster hockey skater. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the next segment. And the next segment is we're gonna focus on pushes. Don't say it like you would normally say it like I would say it. Say push. The focus is on the push. So what that essentially means is this. If I ever say push, that is the stride. One leg is going to stride, the other leg is going to glide. If it's a forward stride like this, if it is a forward C-cut like this, if it is a backward C-cut, a backwards outside edge rip, or whatever, any type of thrust movement. A thrust, if you can't picture it, it looks exactly like a rocket ship taking off, or Batman in his Batmobile pressing on the gas pedal. What comes out of the muffler flames, he's creating thrust. He's creating a push. He's pushing the car. And we're gonna try to do the same for us. We are going to push. And the reason why we put so much emphasis on this is because it's a really hilarious thing, but many of us, especially when we're first learning, but not even that, just beginners, but even hockey players who have played for a long time, many of them, instead of pushing and launching themselves forward, they're basically just stepping and walking as they skate. This is a step, this is a step, this is a step. A step can launch me 1 to 2 feet. A push can launch you 3 to 4 feet. So we're gonna always embrace the push. If I do a crossover, here's a push with my left, here's a push with my right. I have 2 legs, don't I? So I might as well use both legs to push off from. And because we put so much emphasis on this, because so many players push and then they only just step the other leg, when you could push. And if you push, you'll launch yourself further, you'll become faster, and it's just a more efficient way of skating. So what we're gonna do to embrace the push is focus on the most basic level of a push, and that is this. Get into a strong hockey stance. You can point your toes out, connect your heels. You're gonna press into the heels. You're gonna glide, almost do like a little bit of a splits, and then you're gonna connect the toes. Connect the heels, connect the toes. We call these watermelons, and so what we're gonna do is a forward watermelon, but instead of just going through the motions like I just did, I want you to focus more on the push. In ice hockey, if it sounds good, then it is good, and that's how we know. How do I know if my push is good? If it sounds good, then it is good. Your C-cut should be long, loud, but also quick. If you're on inline skates, you could still hear that heel. On my 4th wheel, the one that I'm on right now, I'm going to be pressing through into that. How do I do that? My whole blade can be on the ice right now, but if you're to see through my blade, I am pushing into the heel, like I'm pushing into my palm right now, and I'm lightly lifting up my toes. My weight is in my heel right now. I'm distributing all of that weight through my legs, through my calves, into the heel, and I'm embracing a push. Listen to the push. You can still kind of hear it. So what I want you to do is I want you to push off your right, and I want you to also push off your left, but I want you to do it at the exact same time. If I were to jump, I would start by loading up my legs and not jumping this way. We're hockey skaters, so we jump this way. We're gonna load and jump forward. Do the same, start with a load, and then push and launch yourself forward. And while you do so, focus as well on making the left leg and the right leg both push. Both, if the left and the right sound good, then it is good. So in another way, if I'm a soccer player or a European football player, my soccer kick is quite good with my right leg, but my left one is terrible. If you're just like me, that doesn't mean that your left leg is weak. It just requires more focus, it requires more attention and more practice and more training. My right side layup, flawless. My left side needs a lot of work. Left hand layup needs a lot of work. It doesn't mean that my left side is weaker. I just need to get that mechanics and get that technique down. So I want you to focus on the same thing. Make sure that both legs are nice and loud and low and both are pushing. Okay, now let's get into the alternating. So instead of both legs pushing at the same time, we are now going to push with the right and then push with the left. Just as we talked about before, jumping is just like skating. So let's really try to embrace lining everything up. Loading up, chin, knee, and toe, everything loads up. I C-cut off that leg, and then I transfer, remember that word transfer, so important, to the right leg, and chin, knee, and toe line up on that leg, and I load and explode off of that right leg. Our focus is going to be on that transference, and in other words, one leg is going to stride, one leg is going to glide. Our stride is a push. As long as we make sure that it sounds good and then we know it will be good, and it launches us forward. It creates some thrust. So we're going to do that, but then we're also going to embrace the glide. We are not going to do this and keep our chin down the middle and just focus on a push, push, push technique. We're going to push, which is the stride. But then we're also going to embrace the glide. We stride and we glide together. So all that it means is while this leg goes back, this leg we're going to lunge it forward. If I were going around my glove, we would do the same thing. This is a really good C cut. It's a good push. This is a good push. It's a good stride. But it would take me maybe 3 strides to get all the way around at 360 degrees. But if I stride, not just stride, but if I stride and I glide and I really transfer weight onto this leg, then it's really going to help me a lot. I'll say this a lot. If you ever get on the ice with me, basically, if your belly button touches the thigh to the gliding leg, that's a good looking stride and glide. How do you know? How do I know, Sean, if my stride and glide is good and my glide is good? When this leg goes back and this leg drives forward, we stride and we glide. If your belly button touches the thigh of that leg, we're in a good solid stance. If I cross over, I'm in a nice solid stance, get on the outside edge. If I cross and my belly button's up here, that's how far I can get my stride out. As soon as I touch belly button to the thigh of that leg, now look at that, and get some extra length to that stride. That extra length will eventually add some more strength to the stride as well too. We never just stride, we stride and we glide. How do we glide? We touch the belly button to the thigh of that leg. Let's do the same with our C cuts. Don't keep your belly button up here. Stride and glide. Lunge that leg forward. I really like using these lines, so I'm going to use this baby blue line. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to keep my belly button on that line. I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to stride off this leg. I'm going to lunge this leg back. This leg is still lunging forward. It's not lunging to the right. It's still lunging forward, but I'm gracefully going to recover on this side. I stride, and then I recover on this side of that line. But I'm not doing this or this. I'm still skating forward, but I'm doing it with a C cut. What this will do is it'll allow me to stride and also glide. Watch how this leg, belly button touches the thigh, and I lunge it forward. We're doing this, but we're doing it with just one and then the other. Focus not on the stride, but the stride and the glide, so we can actually travel. Okay, now we're going to focus a little bit more on quickness. Instead of staying skinny, we're going to get wide and we're going to get nice and low. Why do we get wide and low? If I pick up my toes right now and try to press into my heels so that I can push off of them in a skinny stance, I can't really do it. If I were on the ice trying to do that, we would very clearly be able to hear it. There's not much of a sound. But if I get wide and I get low, and then I start to pick up my toes, my feet are starting to make a little bit more noise, and that sound means grip. I've got some grip. And what do I do with grip? Now I can actually create some push. I can create some thrust. What is the reason why I couldn't grab the ice or the concrete before? It's because you were on a flat edge. You're not on your inside edge. You're not on your outside edge. You're right down the middle. Like a knife, if I were a chef in the kitchen, I would grab a knife to cut up fruits and vegetables and meat and tofu for myself. Those knives have one edge to them and they're very sharp. Our ice hockey skates have 2 knives. Our inline wheels have 2 sides of them. They're not a circle. They are much skinnier as well too. And we still can actually push off on the edges. And so we're going to try to embrace that as much as we can. If I'm wide, then I am naturally, if my knees are naturally on the inside of my feet, and I'm naturally on the inside edge. Because I'm on my edge, now I can grab the ice or grab the cement. And why do I get low? I can now use that grip and load and push off from it. Push and push. Why do we get wide and low? Why does a coach always tell me, get wide and get low? That's the reason why. So that we can get the ice, we can grab the ice, and we can use that grip to create thrust and movement and push and speed and all the things that we need in order to be successful at the game of hockey. So now, instead of striding and gliding, I want you to focus just on quick pushes. Get wide, get low, pick up your toes slightly to press into the heels, get that butt down, and very quick C-cuts. Quick C-cuts now. Pop, 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 pop. Now we're going to get to C-cuts with a hip rotation. So all that means, the reason why we're doing that is because 80% of the time that you're on the ice in a hockey shift, you're changing directions. You're pivoting, you're stopping, you're starting, you're turning, you're crossing over, constantly changing directions. In a game that's built so much on speed, we don't want to have to slow down just because we're changing directions. We want to be able to keep our speed up and maybe even increase speed because we're able to turn. And so what I mean by that is this. We're going to do C-cuts, but we're going to do C-cuts with a hip rotation. So we're also going to turn. And so there's some things that I want you to focus on. You could just plant this foot as you do a C-cut with your right leg. And at the same time as you do that C-cut, you're also turning your hips. Or you could plant the heel. So we do this a lot in ice hockey, but we would do it in inline as well too. Once I plant that heel, I anchor myself and I focus on turning. If I just pick up my heel, I start to turn pretty much automatically already. But I turned quite slow. And if you want to turn faster, use your body's 3 momentum boosters. Use your arms. If you turn your arms, you will turn so much faster. Turn your hips. If you turn your hips fast, you'll turn even faster than that. And if you push and turn your legs, then you'll turn even faster than that. Like a good dancer, don't turn hips and legs, then your arms, or arms, then hips and legs, or whatever. It's arms, hips, and legs all at the exact same time. Like a good dancer, stay nice and wide and low and turn all of those movements, all of those body parts at the same time. So I can pop the heel and turn arms, hips, and legs. What I suggest is pretending like you have a puck on your stick already. If I wanted to turn in this direction and I didn't use my arms, I would turn and my puck would just fly off my stick. Let's embrace those arms, turns, arms, hips, and legs. I don't so much like the fold. I like the idea of getting your arms off of your body, both top arm off your body, on the backhand and on the forehand side, and then at the exact same time turning your hips. So if we could use this as a good example, my toes are facing you right now, and I'm going to turn until my toes completely face those boards. Typically at hockey camps, players will maybe only turn slightly. I don't want that. I want a nice big turn. I want one leg in front of the other leg. That's how much I want you to turn. And the faster, the sharper, the better. That was me sort of going through the motions and lightly pushing into the heel of my foot as I did the C-cut. Now let's turn it up. Turn up the speed. Turn up the quickness. Turn quick. Okay, next drill, we're gonna put our leg behind us now, and we're gonna C-cut on just one leg. You're gonna go to the right on your right leg, so you're gonna be on the inside edge of your skate. If it sounds good, it is good. If you're in ice hockey skates, you'll hear it a lot more than inline, but inline you still should hear a bit of a sound. Typically, we try to make the grinding sound, which means weight is in the heel. I begin with that, and then I snap off of the toe. Don't just make the grinding sound. And what I mean by that is this. This is a step, this is a step, this is a step. This is a push and a push. A step can launch me 1 to 2 feet, while a push can launch you 3 to 4 feet, sometimes even more than that. We're gonna focus on the push. You are going to go to the right on the right leg, and then when you transfer weight to the left, don't just step to the left leg. Don't just step to the right leg. This is me doing the drill, but I'm doing it through the motions. Don't step, embrace the push. Put your weight in your heel and then snap off of the toe and try to push. Push as you transfer weight from one to the other, and you'll launch yourself so much further. You'll be so much faster, and it's just a more efficient way of skating. If your destination is to get to the other end of the ice and you need to do one-legged C-cuts to get there, don't step. Push, push off of that, push off of your leg as hard as you can, and you'll get there a heck of a lot faster. Okay, now let's get on the outside edge. Instead of being wide and low and bringing your knees together, now we're gonna get skinny and tall, and we're gonna spread our knees apart. Now I'm on the outside edges. So go ahead and get down nice and low while being on those edges, get comfy on those edges. I want you to now stand like I'm standing and get on just one outside edge. You're gonna cross, and you're gonna touch down to the outside edge. Don't touch your blade down to a flat blade, then flip to the outside edge, cross in front, and always go right to the outside edge. In soccer, maybe, in training, we might cross behind. In hockey, never. We never ever cross behind. You always cross in front. Get on the outside edge first. Then cross and touch down right to the outside edge, right to the outside edge, right to the outside edge. And now what you're gonna do is this. Instead of going to the right on the right leg, you're gonna go to the right on the left leg. And you're gonna hold it, and when you cross, focus on the push. This is me doing the drill, but I am stepping through the crosses. Stepping. This is me doing the drill, and I'm pushing. My weight is in the heel, transfers to the toe. Heel, snap off of the toe. Focus on the push, and the push, and look how I'm getting the hips involved, and my stick is always leading, yes, so that I have that nice balance tool as I'm doing the drill. Okay, now we're gonna do a forward crossover. So we're gonna combine the inside edge push and the outside edge push, and we're gonna create a crossover from it. Same thing that we did before. Push with the right, push with the left now, push with the left, push with the right, push with the right, push with the left, cross. This is going to be the single most important thing that you're going to learn in this video, and it might be one of the single most important things that you're going to learn in your skating life. It's a fundamental skating truth. As important as striding and gliding, as important as having an explosively quick recovery and taking the appropriate amount of strides. We don't be nice to the ice. All of those things. We try to pound out our strides and never be nice to the ice. What I mean by that is we never set a tiptoe. We use the ice and we push the ice. Never be nice to the ice or the concrete. And as important as all of those fundamental truths to your skating, here's going to be your last one, your next one, and it might be the most important one, and it's this. Many players, as they do one crossover each way, despite the fact that they have two legs, they only use one. What I mean by that is this. If we can imagine right here as if there is a circle, and I were going around this circle, many players pick up a leg and place a leg in front of a leg. Here's a leg in front of a leg, here's a leg in front of a leg. In other words, I am stepping and stepping. With a step and a step, I can actually go pretty fast. So you may think like, wow, Sean's going pretty fast in his crossovers. This is a step and a step. This is a push and a push. I'm gaining so much more speed. In other words, here's the easiest way I can explain it. Never, ever, ever, ever crossover. Never crossover. Push, then you can cross over. Never ever step this leg in front, push, then you can step it in front. If I'm trying to get to my glove, and my glove is 6 feet away from me, and I have to do a step over to get there, if I push off of my left leg and then cross, and I push off of my right leg, I can reach my glove 6 feet away. However, if I push off of my left leg and then cross, but I just step off of my right leg, I cannot reach my destination. Why is Connor McDavid so fast and Kendall Coyne so fast? They do not push and then step. They do not step and then push. They push, push. So say it with me and say it in your head as you skate. Push, 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 push. Now, as we do one cross each way. Try not to push and then step, or step and then push. Now we skate down the ice, push, push. Okay, now those pushes, what are they? They're strides. We don't ever just stride, we stride and we glide. So if here's my circle again, let's not just stride and stride, let's stride and glide. Sit on that gliding leg. How do we glide? Again, we touch belly button to the thigh of that leg. In other words, while this leg goes backwards to stride, lunge this leg forward. Never ever cross over, never just stride. Now we stride and we glide. Like a skateboard, or maybe I'm on my scooter, we can skate and scoot so much faster if we don't just have our left leg on the skateboard or the scooter and stride. If we want to go fast, we stride and we glide, right? We sit on the traveling leg, on the leg that's on the scooter or the skateboard. We do the same in a hockey stride. We don't just stride, we stride and we glide. Touch the belly button to the thigh of that leg. But guess what? We have another leg. Don't just cross and stride. Touch the belly button to this thigh as well too, so we can really stretch out the stride and the glide. Two nice things are happening. I am putting more weight onto the gliding leg, and in a stride and a glide, the heavier this thing is, the faster I can travel on it, because I'm on either very slippery ice or I'm on wheels on concrete. And that heavier thing, as long as it has something to give it momentum, then that heavy thing can travel quite fast. The momentum builder is going to be the stride, but in order to actually travel, sit on that gliding leg. We can apply the same teaching in just a basic forward stride. If I stride and glide, I've got much more length and I've got much more weight on this leg. So now I've extended the stride to its fullest length and I've got more weight on it, so I'll travel faster. So we stride and we glide, we cross and we stride and we glide. Belly button touches this thigh, so now I can extend my stride and I can put more weight on this leg. Now do one cross each way, put it all together, get wide and low like Crosby, and stride and glide as you skate down the ice. Okay, now we're almost done our practice plan. Instead of being wide and low like Crosby, we're gonna get skinny and tall and springy like McDavid. Remember how we were springing through our step overs? We're gonna do the exact same thing, but now we're gonna do it in a crossover form. So we're gonna do it in motion as we skate up the ice. You could also do it in a circle. Imagine as if here's my circle. A full crossover is one where I stride and I glide. I stride and I glide. Here's me doing full crossovers. I can now just pretty much maintain speed. About a half crossover where I'm a little more upright, and it's maybe a little quicker. I can focus more on accelerating up to that top speed. So our focus now is acceleration. So like Crosby, we can be wide and low, but not now. Let's get skinny and tall and springy like McDavid and focus on getting on the toes, focus on a pop. Any pro level player that I ever worked with, they have mastered the striding and the gliding. They have mastered the pushing and the pushing. What do we mean by that? Remember, we push with the right and push with the left when we cross over. They've mastered the striding and the gliding and the pushing and the pushing. What they focus on is this, eliminating pauses. So here's a cross with my left, here's a pause. Here's a cross with my right, here's a pause. Eliminate the pause. Go right from the left to the right as quick as you possibly can. Go ahead and hop. Go ahead and pounce. Go ahead and just spring. Spring as you cross over, get on your toes and make them quick. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, last drill. One crossover each way can help you get down the ice really darn fast. Did you know? Two crossovers each way can help you get down the ice even faster. Now, if you want, do two. So all that means is this. You're pushing on the right 1, 2 times, and you're pushing off the left 2 times. Or if you want to skate even faster, did you know that 2 crossovers each way can help you get down the ice really darn fast? But 3 crossovers each way can help you get down the ice even faster. You decide. Do not do 1 cross each way. Do 2 on the right, 2 on the left, or go straight to 3 on the right, 3 on the left, and you will get to the end of the ice faster because you'll be accelerating much quicker. Less pause time. Did you know that 2 crossovers each way is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 potential pushes? Potential pushes. Remember, I could do this. Push, push, step, push. Forget about those steps. Push, 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 push off those toes as much as you can. 3 crossovers each way is 6 pushes per side. That's why Connor McDavid is so bloody fast when he's skating, and I want you to be just as quick and just as springy. Let's do it now. You decide, either pop, pop, or 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. There's your power skating video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here with me. Love all of you guys, and thank you so much for spending your time with me, learning from me, and now go flourish and go be incredible power skaters. I want to see you on the ice. I notice every hockey player who's ever playing street hockey, if I'm driving by and I see a hockey player, I'm feeling proud of that boy or girl or that man or that woman. Anytime I'm at the Bentway in Toronto and people are skating under the lights and some music, I love seeing the beginners out there, the roller skaters, the inline skaters, the ice hockey skaters in the wintertime, and obviously the hockey players and the figure skaters as well too. I'm so proud of all of you guys, and I hope you're proud of yourselves. Instead of finishing this video and doing the video and feeling pretty good about yourself, I hope you're like, yeah, man, I feel really damn good about myself. I've gotten better, I've learned, and I've grown and evolved, and you've done that whether you like it or not. And so I hope we continue evolving and not devolving and going in the wrong direction, and I hope that, again, you can enrich your skating lives. And if you want more videos, head to the ITH Plus app, the iTrain Hockey Plus app. And we got tons of skating videos. We're going to even more depth about the stopping, about the starting, about the crossover starts versus V starts, about the striding and the gliding, about just crossovers. We just did forward skating stuff today. You can apply all of these techniques in a backward skating scenario as well too. And I hope you check it out and you enjoy it. Message us anytime, and hopefully we'll see you on the ice again soon.